So you've got a couple of really good Wonderkids, or you've signed a couple of really good young players, and you want to make sure that they reach their full potential and become a first team player for your side. I'm here to help, viewers. This is how you develop some youngsters. Yes, welcome to the Omega Loop Gaming channel, full of player spotlights, tactic reviews, training schedules, some bits behind the scenes of Football Manager that maybe you did not know about that can help you in the future. Please consider subscribing if you haven't done so already, because viewers, we're very close to 10,000 subscribers. I did not think it was a goal that we could achieve before the new year, and yet now we are very close. So if you're one of these people who have arrived and watched the channel recently but haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. Today is a topic which I think has a lot of controversy around because a lot of people have different methods of doing it. I'm going to try and give you a brief overview of how I train and develop youngsters, which I think a lot of other people use as well. Instead of arguing with me in the comments, if you disagree, maybe just give me your opinions on how you do it and we'll have a good discussion, viewers. Yes? Or we can argue. I don't want to argue with any of you. If you disagree, that's fine. But it's worked for me in the past. So I've broke this down into a few different aspects of the game. So we're going to go through it bit by bit and kind of give you an understanding of how I look at it. And we're going to start off with something which was introduced in the game a couple of years ago. The mentoring groups, viewers. Because it has a slight part on it. And it can make a big impact. Sometimes not so much. Let's talk about it. So yes, like I mentioned before, mentoring groups haven't been around for a very long time. Tutoring was how you used to do it before. You used to have a player maybe with good determination. You used to tutor him on a youngster and make it their determination better. And that was really the be-all and end-all of tutoring groups. And now it has made it a lot more complex. And certain people don't like it. I do now. I never used to, but now I do because it's more realistic, viewers, on how this works. So I set up here a couple of mentoring groups, and I want to give you a little chat on how the reasons why you'd use mentoring groups and how they kind of work. So the reasons why you'd use mentoring groups are mainly for personality reasons, and you can see here personality is an option at the forefront, right in the middle here of what we are looking at. The reason as well is to kind of blend these players together. You can see social groups here. We have very different social groups in a lot of these players. When you start using mentoring groups, you might find if the mentoring groups are working, they start intermingling, and maybe your social groups will become one. But some of the main reasons why we mentioned the personality, the determination of a youngster can also be helped throughout this. That their personality rubs off on others. So if we look here at estimated influence on a group, we can see the players who have a big influence on the group, and the hierarchy will have a play-in factor in that. Influential players have an average influence on their highly influential players, or team leaders like Marcus Rashford here will have more of an influence on a group. Then you get the other players. These are your youngsters you're bringing into the first team lineup, the bottom end of the hierarchy, viewers. These guys are the reasons why you're doing the mentoring groups to begin with. These guys are the mentorees, if you will. They are going to be affected from this group, and this is the reason why you need to pick your mentoring groups quite wisely, viewers. So, let's talk about it. Here, I have selected Harry Maguire. In the hierarchy of highly efficient players, influential players, he's quite a good one, to be fair. He has decent determination of 15. He's a resolute personality, which is not a bad personality. It's okay. He's a good centre-back. And we have put this man in, Tendon Mengi. Now, the reason why I have selected Tendon Mengi, there's a bad thing and a good reason why I have selected. The bad reason is he already has a higher determination than Harry Maguire. So, potentially, his determination might go down. That could be influenced by Harry Maguire and other people part of that mentoring group. He also has a professional personality, viewers. Now, professional personality, we're going to talk about that a little bit more in the next tip. But professional personality is a very good personality, which we'll talk about, like I mentioned before. If, for instance, we had a player who didn't have as good personality and who didn't have as good as determination, then it will be a positive effect. However, Tende Mengi might still be influenced by Harry Maguire in positive ways, and occasionally you'll get reports through about your mentoring groups which will tell you whether they are positive or negative and they're having effects on you. You can even learn player traits through these players. They may also clash and not work out, and you'll have to rearrange your mentoring groups completely. So if we look at this one down here, I have put a number of really influential players into one mentoring group. We have one Mata, who is a professional personality, a model professional in my opinion, but on Football Manager, only a professional. Bruno Fernandes, who's a driven personality, a really good one as well. Donny van der Beek, again, resolute. And resolute of Marcus Rashford, who is a team leader. He probably has the most influence on this group. And I have put two players in there who is going to gain a significant effect from this group. Mason Greenwood, who I'm quite surprised with because he has been in the first team for quite a while. He is going to be benefited from that. He has a spirited personality. That's not too bad. But here we go. Balanced personality of Facundo Pellistri is going to get a significant effect from this group. He also has low determination of 14. That's not too low, but it is lower than a lot of the players who are on here. If we look at Marcus Rashford here, he has 16 determination, 2 more. If we look at Donny van der Beek, he has 15. That's 1 more. Bruno Fernandes, 19 determination. That's as high as we'd like to go. Hopefully Facundo Pellistri would manage to get that. Facundo Pellistri also has these cons here. Dressing room, he's finding it hard to adapt in the core group of squad. Putting him in this mentoring group could be the best thing for Facundo Pellistri's progress because it can get him into one of those core social groups. He'll feel happier, the morale will be better, he will also gain determination, he will lose that balanced personality, which we're going to talk about in a minute, because it could affect the hidden attributes in behind. Stage 2. Now I did do a video on FM Scout explaining and even experimenting with hidden attributes, but I'll give you a quick brief overview of what the basis of that save was. The hidden attributes of ambition and professionalism are two attributes which actually mean so much more than determination and work rate, which is what we've all been thinking for years and years is the main reason why a player won't develop or not. Sometimes you'll have a player with 10 determination, you think that's the reason why he's not developing. No, because in the experiment I actually did, the two players had identical attributes, one at 10, well both at 10 determination, and they both had the potential ability of 200, both starting on 100 current ability. However, the only difference that these two players had is one player had two attributes which were low in professionalism and ambition, and one player had high professionalism and ambition, and that player, the high player, reached 183 current ability out of 200 in just 3 seasons. You want to know where the low one finished? 101 current ability. He gained 1 current ability in 3 seasons because he had low ambitions and he had low professionalism. And that kind of makes sense, right? If you're an unambitious person, you have no drive to get to the very best. You have no drive to reach your full potential. And professionalism in Football Manager determines how hard a player trains and how hard they push themselves. So if you have bad professionalism, you're not using your time on the training pitch to your advantage. You're not gaining from the training whatsoever, where is the best place to actually put your work into training and practice. And practice, of course, we know makes perfect. Determination, let's look at it though, because it does have some factor. It's just not as much as what you think. So as we can see here, again, we're looking at Facundo Pellistri. The attribute reflects the player's commitment to succeed and do his very best on and off the pitch. So this actually affects players on the pitch where if they've gone 2-1 down, they have the determination to bring their team back up. They have the will and the drive to bring their team back into the game. If they have low determination, that might not be the case. However, on and off the pitch, determination off the pitch can help. They'll be determined to train harder. They'll be determined to reach their full ambitions. That's how it affects it. If they're only determined to reach a low ambition, they're not ever going to reach a high ambition, viewers. Can you see the correlations that we are creating here? The next thing we're going to take a look at is game time, viewers. And this is something that you have to weigh up, really. Because if your player that you're trying to progress into the world's best players is getting game time in the under-19s or the reserves, that could be good enough for you. And occasionally dropping him in a cup squad might help him. Especially if you have good training facilities, which we're going to go on to as the next point. Spoiler alert. Anyway, what you need to weigh up though, viewers, is you could send that player out on loan. But what you need to think of is the standard of football you're sending him out to. If you're going to send this player out to a standard of football, of conference football, of the Vanarama National League, but you are currently in the Premier League, it might not have as much beneficial. However, if you're going to send him to the Championship, which is a very difficult league, full of very good players, a high reputation league, considering it's the second tier of English football, maybe you're going to send him to the Bundesliga or Ligue 1, where it's even higher standard of football. You might just benefit even more from that. Because as well, viewers, what you also need to weigh up is the next point. Facilities. So let's just kind of intertwine these two as well. Facilities at a club is a big... Well, it kind of is a big factor. Training facilities have a hierarchy itself as good and bad, and that can also play a big factor onto how your players develop through that. If they are playing at terrible facilities, training facilities, they might not ever progress. However, if they have the state-of-the-art training facilities and then you loan them out to a club because they're getting first team football in the good league, but they're doing first team football in a team which have terrible training facilities, it could have a bad effect on them, viewers, no matter how many games they play. So this is what you need to weigh up when you're sending your players out on loan. Not only look for the financial benefit of how much contracts they're going to pay, how much the contract they're going to pay, or the length, or whether they're playing important first team football, regular first team football. I'd suggest doing that. Don't really send them if they're only going to be a squad player. Not really much point. If they're going to do that and they're going to play first team football, regular football, and you think, oh, well, I'll just go for the important first team football. Look at their training facilities. Look at the league they are playing in. Weigh it up. Really, if you think about it, could they just benefit from staying in my reserves where I have better training facilities and every now and then I can use them in the cups? That's what you need to think about, because game time is one of the most important factors for developing youth players within reason. It is kind of the biggest factor, I think, but you do need to weigh it up. And what I basically do when I'm training my youth players is, until they get to 18, unless they are incredibly good at the age of 17, I do not loan them out. Because normally by the time that they're 18, they might be good enough for one of these leagues for the lower end clubs. But then, even then, I'm thinking, well, their training facilities is not that great. I have to pick a really good team to send them to if they are going to leave my club. Because at 18, if they're not good enough for my first team, they're probably not good enough for a lot of the teams around me. And therefore, they might not even make it into the first team of any team around my standard of football across the world. Therefore, I need to drop down a standard of football. That means the facilities might drop down. This is what you need to weigh up, viewers. But at the end of the day, game time is the most important thing. This is what you need to really comprehend when you're looking at it. I don't want to confuse anyone on whether you think, well, you're telling me to give them game time, but then you're telling me to stay in there. If they're getting reserve team football or under-19s football, that is game time at the end of the day. What I'm talking about is the standard of football away from that game time, okay? Please, I hope you understand that. The last thing you need to consider when you're thinking about player development is the staff that you have at your disposal. Use the staff page on this left hand side, because viewers, look at this. If you look at this Manchester United team, I haven't sold or got rid of any or brought in any coaches. They already have the highest average in the Premier League for coaching, technical abilities, mentals, attacking, goal scoring, goalkeeping, shot stopping. So we must have some decent coaches. So if we do look at the coaching team, we have some really good coaches here, which Michael Carrick, for instance, great coach. However, what you also need to consider is the other attributes outside of their coaching ability in a certain aspect of training. Yes, that is important. If you want to have good attacking players, you need to have good attacking coaches. You're only as good as your coach if you're a youngster. However, what you also need to consider, viewers, is are they good at working with youngsters? Because we can see here how successful a staff member is at working with younger players, those aged 18 and under in particular. Having a coach who is very good at nurturing young talent can be priceless if just one or two of them develop into useful players. What you also need to consider is motivation. Some players need motivating if they are not determined. Going back to this, if they're not determined, they might need more motivating. Are they good at motivating? Level of discipline. If they have other bad aspects of hidden attributes like temperament, like sportsmanship, like professionalism. If they have low attributes in here, they might need a bit more discipline, viewers. Determination also affects your players from the coaching staff. The personalities of the coaches you bring in around your players and your youngsters specifically has a big effect. And, of course, the reason why you bring in youth coaches. If we look at Manchester United's under-23s on their staff, they do not have the best coaches in the Premier League 2 division. So I could be thinking, I could go to that first page and think, oh wow, my coaches are unbelievable. Why aren't any of my youngsters getting the best out of their ability? If you go down to the dev centre, if you go to staff and have a look, under 18s were looking really good. Look at your coaches, viewers, as a whole. See if they have a big difference. They could make a huge difference in a player's development very early on in their career. You could be waiting a season or two if you neglect using better coaches in your under-18s and in your under-23s or your reserves, anything like that, whatever type of youth leagues or youth teams that you have at your disposal where your youth players come into effect. And that kind of brings me around to using the development centre as a whole. If you've surrounded yourself with good coaches, with coaches and assistant managers that you trust, take their advice. For instance, if we have a look at this, Brandon Williams here is good enough to be moved to the Manchester United squad but needs under-23s playing time as well. So if you accept that, he then gets sent straight into the Manchester United first team. However, what you do need to remember is that he did say he still needs to play for the under-23s. Brandon Williams is only 19 years of age. He still needs first team football to reach his full potential. He is nowhere near his full potential, viewers, of 5 stars here. His current ability is only 2.5, and we know that Brandon Williams is an exceptionally good player, especially in Football Manager. I've seen a Brandon Williams go for £19 million, that's not even joking. At the minute, he's only worth £16 million, but how would we develop him if he is never playing games? Make him available for 90 minutes for the under-23s. It just takes 2 seconds. And then if you have a player, for instance, if Luke Shaw gets injured, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to Brandon Williams. I'm going to go down there and I'm going to select and I'm going to deselect that 90 minutes. Because the best thing about that then, viewers, is he's fully match fit. He's fully match fit for when Luke Shaw does get injured. He's growing as well as a player, yet he's still in my first team. He's still in the social group of the first team then. He's no longer in the under-23 social groups. As soon as you move him into this Manchester United first team, he goes straight into the social groups, which you can find by not going onto that, but if you're by finding onto the dynamics, go onto social groups, this is where you'll find him. Down here you'll have others. They are normally new players or youngsters like Palestri, Telles, Cavani, and up here is where you have all the players from before. Brandon Williams slots straight into the core social group because he's been playing first team football for Manchester United in the past. So there we have it, viewers. I hope that kind of gives you a better understanding on how to develop your youth players. It's certainly something that, even though I know all this knowledge that I'm bringing to you, I didn't really have to look hardly anything up. It's just kind of playing the game for years and years. It's kind of stuck in my head. Even though I know all this, I still neglect a lot of this. And that is a downside to my way of playing Football Manager. I'm very, right, get to the next game, because I want to get years and years. And then I'm going, why aren't these players progressing? And I know the reason why is because I've been neglecting the little things which make a massive difference. The hidden attributes, though, do not neglect that, because that is something that I did not know about until very recently, since I did that video on FM Scout. You can find players who aren't very good with ambition and professionalism on their cons, on their coach report, so look out for that. That's where you'll find that, and you can also see that as a positive as well. It can also say like very ambitious player or very professional player. Then you know you're kind of onto a good one. But balanced personality, do not think that is a good thing. It says neutral. It can be very bad, and I'd say 7 out of 10 times it's a bad personality to have. As soon as you've got a balanced personality, but you've got what could be a 5-star player, try and give him a mentoring group. Try and train that out of him and raise his hidden attributes through mentoring groups with someone who is professional or determined, and raise his hidden attributes to make him the best player he can possibly be. So if this video has helped, I would really appreciate you smashing the like button and helping us trying to get to 10,000 subscribers here on YouTube. That'll be absolutely fantastic. If you enjoy live streams, viewers, the Youth to Gold has started. We've had a crazy weekend, the weekend just gone, on twitch.tv/OmegaLuke Gaming. So much happened. So many people gifted subs. So the generosity is incredible. I cannot get my head around some of you guys, what you're willing to do to make my day better, and your excitement for Youth to Gold was unmatched to any series I've ever seen on Twitter. It was incredible. So thank you very much for watching. The link to that is down in the description. Please join the Discord if you wish as well. Free tactics, free training schedules. Of course, the training schedules also plays a big factor. You can add that to what I've just taught you today. You're golden. Your players will easily reach their maximum potential. I promise. Don't come at me if they don't, though. Okay? Thank you very much for watching, viewers. I'll see you on the next time. Make sure you're subscribed. If that one is red, press it right now. Thank you. Bye-bye.